back, and in a more warmer situation. Got my heater at my feet behind me. It was a very interesting trip. One of these days I'll get myself a trout. But anyways, here we go. I did spend some time taking this off because I didn't think you wanted to see me taking the hard stuff off. And you got a little bit of a sunlight here, which is probably fine and probably what we want or need, but maybe not in a video. Here's my pattern. This is a pattern, as I have mentioned before, I have printed these off from daz3d.com. Now this is kind of in a mesh mode here. I'm trying to save, I do a ton of printing. I don't know about you, but I do a lot of printing. And I want to save some ink. I think it got a little too bright here, but I think I can figure some of this out. And as I've said before, I like to start at the bottom, but we haven't got all the way up to the top yet. So I wanted to get started on, at least get started on the head. Pencil. My pattern. So at least the shoulder, make sure we get the shoulders relatively in the way we want it to. And the shoulders, remember he's at an angle, or the top half is at an angle, pardon me. And the shoulder, that's where the chin begins, or the neck would begin. Neck would be about here-ish. And we still got a lot of, the reason why this is a huge chunk is because I want a nice band, or nice, what do you call that on his head? A brim. I know I'd get there. And I think hopefully I didn't cut down too much. I'm just going to do a little bit of this, and a little bit of, oops, a little white, make sure it's white. I colored that in on purpose because, you know, if that's it, then the nose is here and the mouth. I think I might have been a little short on the hat. If so, I can always cut that off and put another one back on. But I want to make sure that the head is correct. Oops. Got the cutting end on my thumb. Make sure I am in. I think, can you see that pretty good without me zooming in? I mean, the more I zoom in, the more chances I will have of getting out of frame. Now, as you recall from my other videos, if you had, this is the shortest or the deepest part of the neck. Would be right at the shoulders here. That's the deepest part. I'm just beginning to set that. The neck should go in still a little bit more. But I'll come back again and shape it. I just want to get it started. I'm going to try to, hope I remember to leave this as thick as possible. We got some pockets coming in. In this particular case, I want him to be, this is not particularly a caricature, but in order to make him caricature, I want to be a little bigger head. Now here's the thing about this, and I want to do this in retrospect, but if I want to put ears on him, here's the problem. This arm is in the way, sort of, kind of, but we'll get to that. Now, I'm just putting that in now. Probably I'll end up taking a lot of it out just to get a feel for what how the head is going to go and how the head's going to be And where the head and the neck is a little forward. There's the center line of the neck. So the neck is here and here. So that's just the center line, and then the head. So if that's so, there's the top of the head, and I'm going to use all of this wood for now. We can always trim it away or see if I didn't have as much. Oh, as a matter of fact, I was going to show you well, later on I'll show it. Maybe when I take a break. My Rev number 1, revision 1, just to get the handle of it. I neglected to bring it over here. But let's begin the rounding process. Oh, taking that off in there. Now I'll leave a little bit of this back here because I'm not sure what I want to do with the hair. I think the hair is just regular cut hair. Now, see, as I get into this, when I start doing the details of the head, is going to be last because this arm is going to be done, so there'll be a lot more wood removed from that there. So I think just a little bit this way. And as we begin to separate more of this as we go, we will be able to get in there to create an ear. Or you don't have to have an ear. You can have them the old days or something when they did not have much of that, too much hair. And I wonder when the era of short hair came in. Anyways, I'll get back to that later. So I got things started here by rounding this off. Now, one of the things that I have debated, I'm going to give this a try. You probably won't hear my voice. This is the thing I have in my idea, is to do the speed up. I've seen other videos or other wood carvers have sped up. But the problem is, in fact, the one I just seen recently, he was doing a bark, and you know how they kind of nail it in a, oops, get a little bit of these chips in my heater there, and it smells like a fireplace. I've done that a few times. I've done that on purpose. Put a chipper, a little like one of these in there, or even smaller than that, just to trying to turn this back a little bit. But anyways, what was I saying? But it'll come back to me. You probably remember. Anyway, oh no, speeding this up is that his was in a tack to the wall because he was doing a big piece of bark, and he was using his chisels and all, and so it turned out all right because it was stationary. Well, what I'm carving here is not stationary. And so, in other words, if I speed it up, it'll be, and it was like I'll hypnotize you or something. And there you're sitting there hypnotized, and I'll say, well, you can be a good carver too. Now, I'm going to leave the top. Here's what happens when you want to do a brim, like say a cowboy hat. You'd like to keep that brim as thick as possible until the end, because that's one of the last things that you do. Another thing is to get started with the bottom, because that's where all the face and everything else will come in. And like I said, I have a feeling that the head is going to be a little too short on top and might turn it into a ball cap instead. That is one of the magic of doing a cutout and doing your first round in a cutout is you can always change it. Either A, it doesn't work as good, so you have to change it so it'll fit or work, or you change your mind as far as I think it's better to have this instead of that. And so I always want to leave that open. And that's why I always, as I've said it before, I began teaching in cutouts, and people just prefer the roughouts. We have classes, and they want to go home with something. And even sometimes people don't finish roughouts. Yeah, that's going to be too small. I think I goofed up here. And I'll think of something else, probably cut it all off and then put something on top. And again, you will have the better pay. You'll have the pattern. And it's already set. So, if you have the pattern, I'm sure that there'll be something more, unless I can get a ball cap out of that and still keep his head. But you got the pattern. You know what's happening. Now the brim comes back, comes down in the back. And as I've mentioned, the thing is that I've discovered is using the blade and not the tip, or the tip so much. I use the tip a lot still, but you get flat blade to flat blade cut. And when you do that, you get cleaner cuts. Don't mind that right there. Well, here, see, even if it misses, it's easier to get. It's a cleaner cut. Of course, I didn't say it was a perfectly clean cut. I'm going to bring this back a little bit just to get a feel for what's happening here. Pencil. Now since I want this to come here, oh goodness, yeah, I got plenty to go. I'll take one of my chisels. Let's start with the round and cut that out of there. It's really interesting. This is basswood I'm cutting, but the grain almost looks like I got a piece of pine or something. Get out of there. So we're still going to be doing some working. Still working on it. In a way, we're still just in the phrase of just removing wood. I am going to do more shaping the next round, almost to the point of at least the, not completely done, but as soon as I get the head kind of started. So we've got quite a bit to come in, but I want to save some. See, that's kind of the face. I'm going to save a little bit of hair. And it's going to come in like this. Same width on this side. Now it's still pretty wide. I mean, we're still going to be cutting quite a bit. But I want to get my bearings, as I always say. And while looking at this, it just occurred to me, I still have my regular glasses on. I don't have my reading / wood carving glasses. Oh, there we go. No wonder it's getting screwed up. I couldn't see. Uh-oh. It's nuthatch o'clock. A little clean here. A little clean. Oh, am I still in? I have had some complaints about me not keeping it in the camera. The very, very first time, the old ones, first times, I did it via a video camera attached to the VCR, and then so I had the television on in front of me, and I did it. And that turned out kind of relatively nicely, because the main reason why I did that is I had a VCR that was, a camera that was kind of like on its way out. And when the audio was on, my voice was in a quaver, almost like I'm afraid, oh no. So I just started all over again. Now, again, the more I get in, I'm gonna work with the arm a little bit. The arm is going to be, here's the center line of the arm, forward. Now, according to, oh, where's my, there we go. Now, according to, here's the hint. Here's what I do. If this is character, if this is realistic, you know, I would exactly what we got here. But one thing that helps is I got my guy here. Now he's bigger, right? So whatever the width, we certainly don't want it more than your bigger character. But then he's going to have a sleeve. So we'll just like go with that. I'm sure that we will be cutting even more. Pretty soon I got Ethel has come to visit. Kitty cat. I kind of, oh, here's the center line this way. Down. And I want to go as far this way as I can to make sure we got more length here, because I think we may not, because so we want to cut, and then of course well, let's go with the forearm here. And the forearm, so ooh, that's a lot. So we've still got quite a bit to cut. And I think with the arm kind of up, here's the deal. Here's what I'm losing. So what I'm not paying attention to. Erase this. And it's supposed to be more like this. And what this does is it lengthens the bicep arm a little bit, and then it shrinks the forearm so it doesn't make it as long. So I'm going to cut a little bit here. All right. And get my other glasses out of the way. I don't bang them around. It is really strange wood, isn't it, Hal? Look at the grain. It just looks like I'm cutting pine. It doesn't feel like it. Doesn't feel like it. Now here's the fun part, is how we're going to get in there. Yeah, I want something. Now I think I can get in there with a knife, but if I can at least get it started. Same with the head while we're here. Am I still in? What's this look on the other side? He gads. This is my number 9, about 5 mil. And we're cutting a lot of that away. It's always the arm near the head. It's like my plum pudding Santa is with that arm near the head business. And so we're beginning to separate the head a little bit away from the arm, which is what we really want to do for later. While I'm here, I'm going to careful not to take too much off. I'll snap that brim off like I did. Now we're really starting to separate. And I think we can get almost to the point of doing a semblance of an ear. And it's starting to come out. It's a little hacky right now. And like I said, I did wanted to, oops, that was with the green, that would have snapped right off. Okay, again, it's a little chippy. I was trying to just take some, that's really chippy. I'll have to come back to that. Let's come back here. What did I have? I wanted this. And I want it forward. I did want it forward. Like he's about to cast forward. And where's that elbow? That elbow is going to be about here, so that's going to come in this way. And again, there's going to be still some more adjustments, and I want, if I'm still in, I want this to widen for now. I'm pretty sure that that is correct anyways. Oh shoot. Cat jumped on the printer and it's printing something out. Hope it's in a whole book or something. Now she's looking up there and seeing what the heck is going on. What's that commotion? And I want to be careful with putting too much pressure on the arm while holding onto the figure, because that arm might snap off. Just a little bit there. Leaving that a little wide up there for the hand. Oh, I wanted to keep that a little wide too. All right, now I want to just round this a piece. Just round it. Right now it's just like a stick. There's no definition. Again, what we're doing is just going to get our bearings. Yeah, it was pretty. When I got started there, I'm from St. Paul, and my brother's from Hudson, Wisconsin, just across the river. Just across the river, Hudson, Wisconsin, not New York. And it did not look pretty out there. It's probably one of the, weirdest looking blizzard-ish, wet blizzard. And I thought, oh, he'll probably change his mind. But then again, like I said, that's my brother Ronald. If you ever watch his videos on YouTube, Adventures with the Marine, I guess that kind of answers that. And it did. I was surprised when we got there. It calmed down a bit, and we fished for a while until I punctured my boot, and that wasn't pretty. And I was kind of. I mean, if I was smart enough, I'd get the heck out of there right now. And that, it was getting colder and colder. I mean, even if it was in the 30s, it's still cold. But, which it kind of was. I mean, it wasn't frozen, so that's why it'd have to be 30. Because it's always in motion, I suppose. But I was on a spot, I have to keep fishing. And it's like those pictures you see of golfers. There's a tornado coming, and he's hanging on to a tree from the tornado, but he's got his putter down and trying to make that last shot. And that was kind of like me too. I should be running in, but I just at the right spot, had to cast a few times before I said, ouch. That was cold. I want to get the shoulder down a little bit. Even though he is, I'm going to bring this shoulder down a little bit, because remember, I want this cockeyed. Oh, where are you? Have I been carving up there? Geez, it just seems... Is that better? I mean, it depends on what I'm doing. See, if I'm carving like this, that's fine. But when I turn it over, and then I start doing this, that's how I have to kind of pay attention. What I used to do is I used to have a target. I'd have to pick something up. Well, all right, for right now, there's the middle of the camera, and then there is as it go up like this. So I got to keep that in mind. I'm just sorry about that snap. What you're supposed to do, especially in the round, is you're supposed to push or pull. I prefer pushing because if you pull, you'll slip this way. And what I'm going to do is I am going, maybe a little bit of this to define the back, and then I'm going to leave the head, go back down, and start over again. Like I said, I always like to start at the bottom and work up on it. This is my way. It is, I'm doing it my way. But before I do that, I want to get this arm going here too, because it's, why not, while we're here. And I got the caliper set. So there's the center line. So there's going to be a lot off on the top. But I'll make sure I got enough for fist area, fist wood, as it were. And I want to bring this down a little bit this way. Still a little wider than I should, but the other reason why you want it wider, because he's going to be wearing especially characters like this, he's going to be wearing a shirt, and so we're going to be putting some heavy wrinkles in it. Careful, I'm not take too much there. As long as I'm not taking away where the pockets are going to be. Like I said, I want to get this. Talked about that being the vest. Yeah, it's kind of interesting about the style of the. I just got a little bit here. The style of the material, or the, what do I want to say, the fabric, or like ladies help me out here, style of clothing, what's in for what reason or another. But anyways, that was when I got started back in the 80s. He had that neoprene that you can see that I had on, and he yeah, all right, I'll get that, and he got that. And then we went, then it was like a year later, time to go back out again, and I look at him, and what the heck you got on? Well, no, this is what, and the big names. This is what so-and-so has, and it was the same with the hat. Everybody who was in fishing on the trout fishing would have that sort of that Australian style hat. And then there he is with a ball cap on, and well, what the heck? No, because so-and-so said. There's a name guy that we know. I mean, if he says, then it's mostly correct. That you got to keep a low profile, because those fish gonna look up and they see that big hat. Oops. They see that big hat. So you want a smaller hat. Well, paid good money for that Australian style hat. Yeah, my brother was always into the latest, and you gotta spend the money on you don't want to buy junk. Well, of course I agree. The reason why I argue with him about spending a ton of money is that just because you spend a ton of money doesn't mean that it's not going to be junk. That's why I started with a set, the pole, the reel, the line, everything was in this, what do you call it, the cardboard back, and then the cellophane plastic on, what is it, plastic, white clear plastic on top kit. I got that for $59, and it was okay. It was a stiff, the pole was a bit stiff, but for beginners. And then he bought me the pole and reel and everything. So let's get back. As a matter of fact, before we get into the lake, get down and wet the whistle here. But I think for a person who's up here in the Northwoods, now that actually was Willow River in Wisconsin, which is just barely past the border of Wisconsin, Minnesota, and it's just a treat to actually fish in open water, and you can hear the lapping of the water on the rocks and on the shore. It's just it's a good way to get out when you're in the middle of the winter up here. You got to take winter trips once in a while just to get out. Yes, it's cold. Yes, when I was driving up in the blizzard, rain and snow, and no way. And yep, here we go. And we went. Okay, let's get this going here. Let's, again, get back to the legs. And I want to, because since I'll be working on the legs, therefore it's closest to me. Therefore I better bring it down a piece. And then here is the center line of the leg. And this one kind of stretched because, like I had mentioned, when you're on that river, you're casting forward into the water that's coming at you, because you don't want to have, when you're stepping in the water and you're kicking up that dust, kicking up that mud. If you're going this way, then they know that something's coming. And that's the hard thing about fly fishing, is that what happens when you cast forward, well, then that fly starts coming back at you, and now you got all this extra line, and you have to keep pulling the line, and that's what this hand does. It keeps pulling the line, and making sure that it is taut, so that you can do this. You can set the hook, and so therefore, me talking about all of that, that's why 1 foot is forward and 1 foot is back. I want to make sure that I get that. And it's also the same when you do the twist. You know, you rarely will you have the feet standing straight, but when you get in there and you're casting, you have to have 1 foot forward, 1 back. And as I mentioned before, as you're crossing the stream, and the stream is coming this way, and you need to get over, the chicken needs to get over onto the other side, you can't walk like this, because with that stream will just knock you over, and that's why you got to do this, and you got to shimmy across. And of course, one leg is back, and the other. All right, there's the center line. There's the lecture. There's the center line. And the cat is coming back again. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to do about, so that's his. Though I want it to be a little bit more character. That's why this always is a good help, is something bigger, because I want the legs bigger. Well, that's not going to help much, because that's going to get me to the point of saying no about carving. So let's go with a little bit more on here. You can see how thick it is. And then I might want to, while I'm doing this, I'm going to start coming in. Now, we don't really have to, especially at this point, maybe later on, worry about, you know, how the leg is. Let's get him over here. And you got the leg, you know, same with the female, is even more so. And you'll notice there's the knee, there's the foot, how it comes wide and then narrow, and then a little wide and narrow. We'll have that in mind when we do this. But I think especially if you looked at my brother Ron, how it almost seems like a straight down, but there's a lot of heavy creases. So I'll have a little bit of that in mind when I do this. And what's going to happen is going to widen the coat a little bit more too. Now this one has almost got started, but I still in. So it says I'll have that into consideration, but so in this case I have already started with the cylinder. Now I want just a little bit. Now I mean, if he just had the Speedo on or swim trunks and he's got bare feet, then you want to get to that perfection. Even if you're caricature, you want to show those. Here it's not as important, but if you can get a hint of it to show that, at least it shows that you know what you're doing. And like I said, this wood is just very heavy in the lines. So I'm going to cut a little bit more, and I'm going to have to kind of turn this a bit. Now his gear, Ronald's gear, is different than mine. Mine is just like the neoprene is just like almost like any typical wader, where take a little bit off the shoe while we're at it. Have confidence that we can do that. Is that his wader comes down into like a sock, and then he puts a waterproof or a water resistant boot on. The boot can take the water, but then the sock is still this material that is dry. But we'll go with the old-fashioned boot and wader on at the same time. Or if you want to do a modern one, that's how it is. It's like your boot will be separate. Matter of fact, you had to put the boot on and tie the knot on, tie the, and like any other boot or shoe. And as you see, I had some, probably by now, hopefully by now, I've got some extra what we call B-roll. I'm showing all of the animals and birds and others that would come in, which makes it kind of fun. But in this case, holy smokes, like I said, it was February 12th, and it was full of robins. Robins all over the place. Now, bird, the only reason why a bird would migrate is because of food, not because of cold. Maybe a little bit of cold, but mostly because of food. And robins can still find something. In the wintertime, they'll stay. Now, shorebirds will have to go because they need that open water. Now, we have water treatment plants here that are warm, well, warm enough so it won't freeze over. And so we got actually summer birds up here in the dead of winter because there's the food, because they put that helps purify that water. They got the little shrimps in there and eating off all the bacteria and stuff. And then they eat the shrimp. And I always go there January 1st when my first bird count, and see if I can more bird than I did the year before on January 1st. But January 1st, I can get a ton of birds on my list. Anyways, we begin to shrink this. Am I happy with this? I want to work with, now when it comes to the crotch area, I was going to say, at first I thought the shirt would cover most of it, but I don't think so. In this case, there's a lot of times that the shirt does cover the crotch. But I think since the butt is there, therefore, if I were to round this, and I'll have to come, but I'll come back the other direction. I'm skipping ahead here, but I just want to get the feeling of what's going on. So then the butt is here, and therefore the crotch would be there, and we'd be showing it. Okay. I just want to make sure that this is all. Oops, hand out of the way. Where did it come from? One of my labels, price labels. While we're on it, the International Association of Woodcarvers, we meet via Zoom every Saturday. It's 3 o'clock Eastern time, so 2 o'clock my time. And they have, every week they do this, and they just have tons of people. The people in charge, they can get the people, they can get to the demonstrators and talkers in. And they got some good ones. They even got the CCA people in. And as a matter of fact, they got them in. I gotta take some of this off here to fit that. So they got CCA people who are even there as spectators. Get to see them. They're regular people too. And okay. But anyways, every Saturday, check out the Facebook International Association of Woodcarvers, and there will be the link. Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, 2 o'clock Central Time. Now I am thinking that where are you? Where's my, I just got started here, probably about the same. This way now, let's get the center line. Remember, I want this forward. It's going to bend. Now this is going to start, but it's going to bend way back. So that's it right after the butoctyl there. So it's like right about here. Again, bring it in because I still want it forward because it's going to bring it in. But I still want enough to put some nice heavy. This is kind of all right. But I still want this as back. I want to take the back and this is going to go in more, quite a bit. And I want that to curve out. Okay. But I still want more to go back. That's a little bit to bring it back, but almost leave it alone. Almost back. Here we're going to get now that we're going this way, we're talking the profile. Where is the knee going to be? Is right. So I'm right about good. I'm right about there. I'll keep that. I'll keep what I got. It's high only by a quarter of an inch, but that's okay. Again, a little bit of character, a little bit of, or he can still be, different size. Okay, but I want this only now. I'm going to make this just for the sake of bringing the ankle in, but it's still forward. Is that knee right about there? Okay, now I want to round it out. Still taking in consideration, he gets a little thin there. That's a little wide up here. A little thin here. Now, more than likely, I may choose to keep it like this. Like I said, we're going to be putting some good dents in there. So you're still seeing a lot of the fabric. And less of the leg. And the waders are very, a lot of the waders, especially his, there's hardly any definition of leg. They're just these two sticks that come down. Two sticks that got a lot of creases in his leg. Let me just get that out of the way there. I don't think that's, I think that's an insignificant line. Okay, I want a round. A little bit of saw mark in there, but we'll work with it some more. Now you notice my carving technique where I put my thumb on the other thumb. The reason for that is you get a wider, much wider scoop. But this thumb gets tired about it after a while. So his one here, you get more power. Keeping the butactyl area there. Now I'll work with the boots before I do another drinky poo. I do encourage you to go out to Ronald's site, Adventures with the Marine is what his site is called, on YouTube. And it's just like he gets into, oh my goodness, they do like the winter. He and one friend and one son, they get out there and you're like, what the heck is the matter with these people? But they enjoy it. I'll go with this foot. This one here, the foot may be a little thin. Even when I usually give an extra for cutting out, even then we got to come down. But let's start with this. Let's say it's this, just for grins. How does that work with this guy? See, it would be, I would say almost perfect with him. So one little squeeze, and that's what we want to take off with the boot. So it comes up. Make sure I don't take too much off. And then, of course, the toes are going to come down like this. I think there's going to be still a little more to take off. Same here. It does come down, and then it does come up kind of sharp, more sharper. And I think we could still keep that like that. Or I could have actually kept it the way I had it, but it's a big feet, and I don't want it to be too big. He's still caricature. I know I round it a bit while at the same time. Now the good thing with this design is that we don't have to worry about shoelaces. It's all one piece, all one swipe. I need power. Oops. Make sure I meet. do want, if you need to use some round tools, then thin that out more. Then what I want to do is just kind of kiss this a little bit when you're happy at the thickness. This is still a little too wide. You don't want it out more than in. Oh, there goes one of my buttons. I think we'll keep going here. More like shaping. Let's do the same on this side. Careful there, bud. Am I still in? I'll round it a little later. Probably a little later. And same here, just kind of give it a little. Okay, gotta round that a bit. Now, what I want to do, this is a little thing I learned from Dave Stetson, but I don't know where he got it from. And he's always saying about how he picked up things from this person and clean this first before I. And what we're going to do, kind of some circle-ish here. Doesn't have to be too deep. And it still isn't, it's not working out the way I want it to. Big circle. That's better. Little circle. That's better. That's working out. And the reason for that is that's where you want to put this little into it. See, now it's starting to look a little more realistic, and you got to thin the heel a little bit. Still need a little bit of rounding here. Here. And same here, here's the arch. And a little bit back on the heel, because the heel is a bit smaller. Still doing some shaping. Same here. This is the inner heel. Are we getting too close here? Okay. Same here. I'll bring the heel back a little bit. I'm sure there's quite a bit more adjusting. But we got to where we want to get it. We're looking at pretty darn decent. And then what I want to do is a little here, right at the round. Maybe a little past the round, pardon me. I should have penciled that in, I'm sorry. And so you're putting the heel in. And with that, then you just shrink this just a little bit. Just a little bit. I think one foot might be a little smaller than the other. Might look like it. Yeah, this one here. Let's give it an extra cut. And an extra thinning in the front. Now there'll be more about putting the heel in. I can do that later. But here it looks like still a little more. I'm going to round up later just to get I want to get the foot to the shoe in. So it's about a matter of adjusting. I'm thinking, can we put in a little bit of the, I'm going to call it character, cowboy character, where you put that little dip in there like that. I wonder if that'll help. Just a little dip. And there's quite a bit of cleaning up here and there, and I'll have to round that off. Like I said, I want that round. I'll have to check again to see if that's like in a crease or something. But right now he's starting to look pretty good. I think it's getting close to time for details. I think, like I said, I'm going to leave the leg is done with the exception of putting the creases in, which I'll do later. I want to do everything else, put that net in there, and put the that head's going to be the fun part. Right there. Okay, moving right along. Here's our character. I want to get into the vest. Now the thing about the vest is there's a lot of odds and ends, a lot of pockets, pardon me. Let me get my vest here. And we're not going to put all of them in. And I'm going to zoom out or whatever. There is a ton of pockets to put in. As far as it goes out, yeah, that's 1 to 1. There's just a lot of pockets to put in. So what I'm going to do is just put in like one big each, and then a kind of the wide one we got down here. Now this one's going to be covered, but there's one on the other side. And it's just full of all kinds of, every little pocket has something in it. There's a little bit of, there's a knife. I gotta see if I put some any $20 or $100 bills we get in there. Do I get any treasures in there? Tackle box, line. Oh, I bet you these are Band-Aids. Band-Aids. That's back in 4 or 5 companies I used to work ago. All these things have little odds and ends. Here's a line straightener. You put the line in there and you pull it through and it straightens it out. Here's a little device that will help you tie your fly. Here's some flies. So we're just going to do a few pockets in there. If you want to do more, put more in what I got here, and or look online how many pockets you want to put in, and then of course in the back, yeah, there he is. There's the net. We'll be working with that. That's hooked on here, and there's the net. Now, if I hold this up, the net does go past the vest. I hope I put that into consideration. Put back over here. Yes, we did. So we be jamming in the vest. Let me wheel in the vest and let me get back to. Well, let me zoom in or not. Okay. Need to be moving pretty quick here because the light is coming. Anyways, let's get going. I thought what we could do, we'll start with, now what does is but it shows a little bit of this. Back up. Same here. Now it's already hidden. And the rest is the vest. What I want to do is probably I guess I'd put like a pouch here. Is that how it closes? Yeah, a little bit like that. The pouch. Here, I'll straighten it out a little more. Right now I'm just sketching it in, and of course your pattern will already have it in. And then like I would like to do is have, if possible, more longer. And what we're going to try to do is make this, that's why I wanted this as bulky as possible, because we're going to make the pockets as bulky as possible. Now the net, I'll have to come back here. The net is not like just a straight line and in a circle. It does kind of come down like this. And a little lot more longer than it is. I think that may even be too big. Well, probably as big as the one that Ronald found in the stream. And then we'll just do kind of something like this and a little something like this for the sake of the clasp. It's silver. Here we get. Excuse me. Shift things over a bit here. See if it helps one way or the other. It helps one way. It doesn't the other. How about if I go just, but it's coming. The sun is a-coming. Now I would be needing to use my V-tool on some of this, just get things in. Again, what you want to do is V with this part up and this part across for the inside, for the sake of getting the three-dimensionality of the vest. It brings the vest out and the shirt in. Same with here. Going to start to commit to the net here. Just to get that all started. Take the blade in and just kind of take some of that off in there. Same with this. Turn that. Am I still in? turn that, because this does, I think it does meet. There's enough shoulder length on there in which that would meet. Same with the boxes, the pouches. Let's really bring them out. Oops. I did try to sharpen this feed tool. Let's hope it's yeah. See, that's why I think I committed enough to the vest that I can start in on these details, because I want these pockets to be very bulky. Now I'll come back with a knife, but if I just take some of this off while I got the chisel, then it gives me an idea of what's happening. Now this one we can make, let's say a pocket in a pocket. We'll come back to that, of course. Now I want to, down here, I don't want to take too much off. I want to have this where it waves out. And then of course, in this, oh, that's one thing I neglected. Pencil. And now the thing is, I don't know about the neck, but I'll just at least get this started like this. And then down the center. I think it's probably a little wider, but we'll come back to that. I don't know if there's going to be any room in there. Boy, that is, oh, that blade really is dull. See, this blade is dull. This one is fine. Now, I didn't need to do this right away. I shouldn't have done the zipper right away, because we're still digging those pockets out. Okay, knife time. Now I want to come at an angle, a deep angle. So I'm making a stop cut and rounding at the same time. Rounding and stop cut at the same time. Watch the grain. The importance is in the bulkiness of these pockets. We can adjust later. I might get too deep here, but that's okay. I'll have to adjust later. Let's get some nice, the same here. Did round it tonight. Yeah, see that zipper is starting to go away, so I shouldn't have. I mean, it's not that I ruined it, it's just that I was wasting time on it. See how these pockets are starting to pop? Yep, I want to round this, but I still want to keep the flap. I'll have to come back here after I straighten out that hand, what that pocket's going to look like. Rounding and cutting at the same time. Oops. And it doesn't matter if one pocket is smaller than the other. There's really no art to those pockets. You take the pencil marks off. Oops, make sure I'm dropping. I'm twisting this. That's better. Those pockets are starting to come out. Again, I'm not sure what to do until I get the hand out. But we've committed to some pockets, and then we'll also come into more details. Oh, there's like a pocket in a pocket in a pocket. Now, while we're at it here, let's get this going. See, that's still the armpit. Oops. I hate burying the tip. When I cut and the tip gets buried like that. And we'll come back and see if we can find some wrinkles to put in this guy. Oops. I'm going to take the pencil mark and the saw marks off. I think you're getting close to that was the last of the saw marks, I think. Yeah. At an angle, 10 degrees. Still in? Yep. Let me move some of this shadow over. Shadowing. Oops. Again, I want to get as flat as I'm trying to practice that as more flat. Flat against flat. You know, I might have to use the tip. I'll try to flatten it as best I can. Thinning the shoulder for the vest. So we're getting things started, and I know this shirt will definitely have some buttons and stuff in there. Just oops, we're cleaning, but we're going the wrong way. Going the wrong way. Okay. Do one of these for the clip. Oops. Okay, let's do a little bit of cleaning up here. Oops. Always the wrong way. I think I did this. Okay, I'm going to hold that out for a while, because what I want to do is get the arms and hands in. That's what I'm going to do next. We're back, and now this is the next day, actually, because I had a lot of time to think about it. Now, what I originally had planned for the waders was that these are going to be like boots. I would say boot style waders is what I was originally planned, and that's why I had this this coming out. Let me see if I can zoom and stay in. Can I? Where is a stay in spot? Anyways, well, and this is what was planned, and I'm still going to go with it. The reason why I like like this, because it adds more texture and it adds more color. Because what's going to happen is that it's kind of more sharper, but anyways, because then you got this is going to be like a greenish color, and then you got your maybe blue jeans, and then you got your shirt, whatever color. Maybe you could put crosshatch. What is that? A tartan or something on there. Yeah. Starts with an F. Anyways. That's what I had originally planned, and then all of a sudden it occurred to me, well, where's this creel? And you catch the fish as a basket, and then so I did a little bit of research, and I thought, well, we could probably. Well, the reason why I did research was that if we put the creel here or wherever, because then the strap can go under. I was hoping it'd go underneath. I mean, you don't want to have the strap going over the pocket. And I was wondering if they did. So I did some research. I can't find it. As a matter of fact, I looked for the creel itself. I mean, you can still get the basket if you want. There was one that had just this extra pouch made with today's material. But I was looking at the pictures of the fly fisher today. None of them had a creel on them. Well, this my brother is a catch and release, and the only one he's ever kept was a huge brown trout that he had stuffed. But other than that, well, I guess not. I mean, I never had a creel. I think I've had, and my brother has, I think, an antique one, the basket from the 1920s-ish or something like that. But no, I never had a creel. I don't think I ever saw him have a creel. And I looked at these pictures online, and there's no creel. They don't have anything on them. But if you wanna put In retrospect, you could put the package like it'd be a wicker kind of a thing, or a modern day, and then of course it's going to be on the inside, the the strap. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep going with, because I've seen pictures. Holy smokes! And then I'm looking up here and I'm having problems with this hat. I might do a ball cap, but more than likely, a lot of pictures today, unless they're just posing, have no hats on. There's some that got hats on, most don't. And it's really interesting because I started this out using my own memory. Yeah, you should always be doing more research when you are going to do a carving, which is true. But I thought what I have in memory is enough to get this started and done. But anyways, I'm just going to move forward with what I got. I am going to, more than likely, it's about a 90% chance, I'm going to take that off. He's just going to have hair. And if we did this, if we take especially if we took the brim off and the hair off, trying to think, do I got shadow? I got shadow here. I got to fix my light a little bit here when I get started. Then when we take this off, then we'd be able to get a better chance of getting into an ear. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll leave this for now, because what's going to happen here is, and I'll just explain it more, is this is very loose. So in other words, when we do this, there's going to be a lot of undercut. And this is going to be like a very loose thing here. It's not particularly tight. There's some that could be tight, but it's mostly loose. And I do like this. It has more color. You get more color and more depth doing it this way. Now, if you want to, and you want to have a full bib, like let's say you want this to be somebody else, like grandpa or whatever, or yourself, then we can always chip that away, because there's more, and you can always have this as very solid up here, because the bib will come up, and this will come on top of it. So another thing that I did not mention, most of the time this would be open, especially in the summertime. You can have this open, and you can get down to the shirt or whatever. But I'm going to make it simple, because zip it up. I'd say it's about 50-50 of that being zipped up or open. Now mine is open because, well, first of all, my brother and I, we're wearing big coats. So ours are open. This isn't wintertime, this is summertime. And I've kind of grown a little bit since then, and you've seen me sitting there. I got that big pot. I got to work on that. Where did that come from? And so therefore, like I said, it's like Herman Munster's trying to pull his coat back in that doesn't fit. And a little confession is I've had a full neoprene waders, and it goes all the way up to the chest. And I got to tell you, that is like trying to push a sausage in its casing. I mean, it was, and I've grew a little bit since then. And we went fishing just a little bit before I did my carving. And what happened was I can only get it up to about waist level. and the kind of the crotch of it was like down here. It's like right at the knee would be, just like you see the old clowns or something, or it's just the knees, right at the knee is where the crotch. So when we're traveling to get to walking to get to a good spot, you got to go up and down heavy terrain. And it's not like I couldn't go up. My brother had to help me. It's not because I'm getting older or something. It's just I did not have the full leg. It's a good thing we didn't film any of that. It was the first time, just getting out the first time in a long time, and very, very, very unprepared. But and it took me a while to get the fishing, get rod going. But I'm sorry, I've been blabbing for the past about 9 minutes here. Let's get started, and that's why I wanted to, if you've seen something like whoops, or maybe where is that Creo? I am going to work on the upper part, the arms and the head, and get them shaped, and by that then we will go into more details, and then I'll talk about what we're going to do with the pole. It's going to be kind of like like this, and we're going to put I know I got some. I was looking for my wire. It's got to be a solid core wire, and not the braided wire for this to work. I mean, you could have braided wire down here. It could be loose here, but when you got this back and you're going to have that line coming out, it's got to be so it can hold out. And I got to itch my nose, just itching. All right, let's move forward. Hands, and I'm gonna start with the head first. Get a little thing on the head. Like I'm gonna take that hat off. You could redo it and put another hat on. And I want a caricature, so it's gonna be, the head's gonna be a little larger. So I'm just gonna start in on the head. Let's get rid of this, because if I start in the head, then when I start in on the arm, I'll have a little more to play with. So that failed. There's a fail there. I'll probably do another one later on in life or something. Or thinking maybe like a bust. In other words, just like a bust, like right here, and have and attach the arms and make a better. So this happens a lot with me too, even when teaching. That's why I like roughouts. One thing good about roughouts is that, sometimes I have added, with the students have added, and they wanted to add, and I was able to work the wood a little bit to add what they want, but most of the time, or not most of the, a good chunk of the time, what you got planned is not going to work. And like I've mentioned before, since his body is tilted, I want this to be tilted a bit away from this arm. There, now we're getting somewhere. And like I said, this is February, aka winter time, so I don't know how it's like where you're from, but it's dry here in the wintertime. And and what happens is that with the electrostatic, things cling, and a lot of times the wood clings, and it clings on the knife, and it's very annoying. Okay, where's my guy here? Give us a excuse me, example of what we're doing. I hope I didn't get, was I too far off when I was on? Yeah, I gotta keep looking. See, I got my camera is about, I would say about brow level, but I'm always looking down. So with the head, where's my other, if this will help some. Now, like I said, I'm going to make it bigger than this. This is realistic size. I want this more caricature. And so I want to, the thing that's, like I said, I usually, not what I said, but what I do, is usually I do a lot of Santas. Santa's heads, in my opinion, the way to do it is to carve inside out. But when you start getting away from the beard and so on, and maybe even when we see women, carving women with long hair, any kind of hair, is that there you start from the outside in. And since he does not have a beard, I am going to have to carve him outside in. And with that, I'm going to have to, first of all, I'm going to prepare for the neck here. Make sure I want a wider neck. And I wanted the nose to be about here, the eye to be about here, and therefore I think I'll just give him a little hair. Now that might look like, because no, what's supposed to happen is, because there's the chin here. Let's get this right. I'm not correct here. This is not correct. Which means the head might be a little, yeah, the eye should be about here. Am I still in? Here to, well, there's still a little bit of hair, so it's about here. So the eye should be here and the nose should be here. There we go, that's better. Because then the mouth will be here. He's happy because he's got one. Let's get a little higher there. He's happy because he's got something. He's got a spot. He's looking right at it. Oh, I was going to adjust, sorry, I was going to adjust the light here. I got a newer light. My old night light broke. So I used to have it right up on top. I wonder if I'm sorry for wasting time. There, oh, there we go. And then bring it in. Is that better? Not much, but, and then the hair, what's going to happen is the hair is going to come down. Let's do this side, it's the easier side. If he's going to be, you know, long-haired, because then we're going to have the ear about here, just to get our bearings here. Okay, like his head is not tilting as much as I wanted it to. I lost the tilt. I did lose the tilt. And still not right. All right, like I said, inside out or outside in. I want to make sure that I know where the ear is going to be, and let's put some ear. Let's pull the ear out first, and it's about here. I'm gonna have more lumber. It depends on where his nose, because his nose is going to be there. Therefore, over here comes the fun part. So about how it has to be about here. Let's go about here. Oh yeah, I forgot to look up. Then the ear is going to come back here. Here, the ear is going to come back here. Sorry for the squiggly lines. It's just that when I put it down to this wood, it just grabs. Because the thing is, because we got the nose and the face is going to come back quite a bit. All right, where is one of my chisels? Let's commit and make sure we keep in here. And you know what? I'm going to, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to move it up a little bit, because we can always push it back. You can always push it back. Now comes the fun part, this way. And a little forward. Even though most of that's going to go back. See how it's sticking? Okay. Now with that, I'm going to give him hair. Or you can do her by just giving her a more girly figure, but she's so covered up here, you can just probably bring in the hips or the waist a little bit. I'm going to try to keep the knife as flat as possible. Fingers out of the way. Bring up. Try to make that clean cut. Oops. Oh, I'm starting to lose my... Oh, look at that. I got a rip in my glove there. I got plenty of these. I did not. I should have brought my other gloves. The white woolen or woven, heavily woven gloves that you see. I got that. One of those. I should be wearing those instead. I'm just rounding the hair just a little bit. I want to bring this down a little bit because I want to. I'm cutting this off, not only to bring the ear out a little more, but I want to redo this. Comes down, comes down. Down. That's kind of more like it. Here we go. Come in. See how annoying that is. Come in to make it a little wider. Oh, I think I'm biting too much, more than I could eat here. I want to be careful not to get too much, because I still want to save some for the sideburn. There we go. Now we're starting to shape. And what's going to happen, here, let's get this out of the way. I'm still, let me round this a little bit to get my bearings here. Same here, just around. Because what's going to happen is that the jaw is going to come up here. Now the reason why that's all looking kind of goofy right now is I haven't done the face, and so now that I got kind of started here, I am going to start with the face because this is the way I carve. I still like to carve inside out, and so I'm still learning myself. I mean, it looks kind of really super hacky right now. Can I still zoom in and still stay on? I forgot to. If I were, all right, let's do this. Where am I? It's like right there. Can I erase that? Okay, good. So I'll put it. And I got to keep that in mind. So if I do this, means I got to see this line here. All right, here we go. I want to get going on that face. Even though it looks really hacky, sorry about that. It looks really hacky wacky right now. I just want to get the bearings is what I'm trying to do. So there we go. The next thing I want to do is, get my crappy knife out. This is what I use for my bark. I gotta get this more sharp. So while I'm doing this, tell me a story. What do you do when you fish, if you fish? Or if you're doing this for grandpa or your dad or that's what and like I said, that the thing about fly fishing is that you are hunting. And you got to see right where it is. It's still the same if you go trolling or if you're dipping worms or something, but you got to know where the fish is. That's still not right. I think it's still okay. I think we still need to bring it down just a little bit. Now here's the thing, I'm going to show you what I've been doing lately instead of my old Santa. All right, that's what I've been doing with Santas too. First we'll do, I still do this. Let's get the bottom of the nose. Now the difference between this and the Santa is that now I'm going to take that chin out like this, because that chin, you got the top lip, you got the nose in succession going down, going deeper. Nose, upper lip, then bottom lip, then chin. It's all at an angle like this, give or take. Now the thing that this is what I've been doing differently. I've been putting in the and chip that out of there. But what I've been doing differently, I've been practicing on this, is you can either do the same thing that I've done before, or you can do this just by, it's a little bit that I learned from Carol Levy. Carol Levy, is that her first name? And she does something like this. I think I've modified it. And I will modify it again. Carol Levy is another Carver Characters of America. Oops. That looks kind of hacky there. Oh. And with this, if you did it right away, it didn't work as well as I wanted. You begin to see the nose and the eye socket. That's always important, is that where the eye socket and the nose is. And then I always make sure you give a lot of nose. And it's still, I'm going to cut down. Oh, let's do this one. Let's this side first. Cut down. And what I want to do is to go up and then at an angle like this at the same time. I'm cutting this around at the same time. So you can see how you could see the eye. Now this is going to be a bit tricky here. I'll go this in reverse and see if that'll help. But if it does not, then it's time to rely on your chisels. Like a nice little number 5, about 15 mil, no, 8 mil. And again, come at an angle away from the nose. I didn't get in there deep enough. I didn't get in there with the nose. See, I'm trying to lift the nose is what I'm trying to do. All right. Yep. Where do you think you're going? And I do take the knife just as a little turn. Now be careful where that tip goes. And since where the eye socket is right now is still pretty high, so I don't have to worry about digging too deep. I just want to give this an extra, again, just so I can see where I'm going here. Well, get out of there. Then what I do is, again, but I still do this little 45, but I take a little bit of the face off. The face is off at a direction going down this way. At the same time, just take a little bit of this off and take it some of that right there. Okay, and then I want to, here we go. Here's my small number 9. I'm cutting out. Now the thing that I am practicing on, and I still fail, is I want to still leave a little hump in the center here where the eyeball is going to be. I'm trying to learn that. I mean, I got to the point where I learned it where I, like I showed before, is I get the crease in there, and then I put the eye in, and then I shape everything on the outside after the eye is done. Others like to shape now. And then put the eye in. Now to take my little number 9, I'm going to do this. Do this. Oh, it's old Sam Peabody o'clock. White-throated sparrow. Now I'm going to come back a little later. Like I said, this is all a matter of kind of get things started and make adjustments later. I want to get that nose in there, and it's not cooperating as much as I wanted it to. That really didn't help much. Now here's what I want to do next is I want to get the cone of the mouth, and here's the mouth. Let's just put a little mouth in right now. Mouth itself is where the eyeball, that's where the mouth is. However, the mouth is in a upper a cone shape. And what I want to do is I want to get it started just a little bit by it's right about here. Oops, it took more off than I wanted to. I want to get the cone started. See, it's starting to come up. Well, I got this. I'll just take a little more off because okay, now I want to continue on with this. It comes down. Put him at the same time, same place here if I can. Can I? Look up. It's going to come down. He's got kind of a square, he's got a more square jaw, so it's more masculine. And we got to put this in. And it's straight down. Almost, well, just a little deflection to the left, but it's mostly straight down. Oop. Knock that over. So we'll start with this almost straight down. Little scoop for the neck. Take a good chunk here because there's going to be more of this coming out of there. I think I took another more than I can chew kind of a thing. I mean, if you can take it step by step or chip by chip instead of me taking out in one big scoop. I'm going to round that just a little bit for the sake of the neck, which is coming. And then now let's do the other side first. Get out of there. I did pry. I didn't want to pry. Same thing here. Straight, virtually straight down. A little bit of curve for the neck. Come on down. Okay. See, now we're starting to get there. I want to give a little more of this. A little more of this, just a scoop. And taking a little bit of that chin out there. We're going to be taking more of that chin later. But right now I want the neck. And as you can see here, I mean, usually I go straight. Another character. Is that character? No, that one's that's in the way. I just had some extra characters just in case if I needed to show. Well, this one, if I get close enough here. His goes straight. I always want to go straight back. Because here in this particular case, his goes straight up. Or not straight up. Straight to, with a little bit of angle. His, where are you? It does go, if you can see that, I don't know if you can see that, where it's a little down slope. You can still, either which way. And here's, like I mentioned, you see the jaw come right up to the ear. Jaw comes up to the ear. And we'll work with that later. So, I want to go from here straight down. Let's just take that out of there for now. And maybe another one more. Well, it's going to actually, because when it comes to the mouth, we deal with the mouth is going to come down even more, so we might even come back. And so I want to, now it comes at an angle like, let me put it in. Let me put this in first. It goes straight back, and it goes at an angle, and it comes up at an angle. And like I said, what's supposed to be, that's the deepest part. Now he's got he's got some clothing on, but usually, yeah, right about here is where it is the deepest part. I want to take some of this away and clean it at the same time. Take some of this away and clean at the same time. To get our, you got it, barons. Same with this, it's got to come down. There. I mean, it's starting to, there's